Breaking news.
Drama! Yes, drama when it comes to Manchester United.
It's all kicking off.
Man United won't break the bank for him. And if Man United won't break the bank for him, they've got other targets. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. And guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm concerned. I'm fearful. We see this morning reports coming from good outlets, strong outlets. David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, The Athletic. You're hoping, are we going to get some positive news? Are we going to get something good? We've got our first game of pre-season on Saturday against Leeds. Fierce rivals. And we're going to get some positivity. We're going to get some positive news to guide us into that pre-season fixture. No. Manchester United go positive. We finished 15th last season. Worst season ever in the Premier League. Not in Europe. Bottled the Europa League final. Clubs around us doing business, signing players, improving, winning trophies, and leaving us in the dust. And I thought, oh, well, maybe Manchester United might mean business. They're serious. Best in class this summer. This morning, we get the report from David Ornstein and Laurie Whitwell. Brian Mbeumo, deal is not imminent, folks. It's not imminent. There is a standoff between the club from Manchester and the club from West London. There is a gap in valuation. And this has been going on for 6 weeks? Maybe even longer. We're seeing other clubs get linked to, are interested in, and then sign a player within 24 hours. Manchester United, 6 weeks. 6. And it's still not imminent, not close. Meanwhile, other clubs that are supposedly going after our players apparently aren't even interested anymore. Hojlund to Inter. They've signed a striker. They're not interested. Garnacho to Chelsea. Yeah, we'll see. Rashford, he only wants Barca. Do Barca even want him? It's just a complete mess. We don't have a goalkeeper. We barely had one anyway, but now we don't even have one for pre-season. And to top it all off, we're being linked with Nicholas Jackson. I suppose the only positive out of that story is, even if we were going to sign him, it'd probably take us about 3 months anyway, and the window would be shut by that point. So we wouldn't even get there. This is the transfer view. When we talk about Manchester United transfer news, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Oh, God, guys.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
Has anyone got any good news this morning, just to try and lift the spirits a little bit? Because we're going to have to talk about all of these stories. It's part of the show. You know, we're going to have to talk about the details regarding Brian and Mbeumo, why that's not anywhere close to happening. We're going to talk about Garnacho to Chelsea and now being linked to Nicholas Jackson. We're going to talk about Manchester United searching for a goalkeeper, maybe. And we're also going to be talking about how Rasmus Hojlund to Inter, that's probably not going to happen as well. They've already signed someone. And I've also heard rumours this morning that Juventus actually might not even get Jadon Sancho. It's just... Tabrez won a 10 on a scratch card. Well done, Tabs. Yeah. Let's get the super chats out through the before we start. I can't even talk this morning. I'm so pissed off. Amador has been a member for 30 months. Says, Owen, this is bloody worrying. I knew our financial situation was poo, especially losing the final. But if we don't have the cash if we don't have the cash, what is our next target? I don't know. I'm not sure. Super Arch says, we're Nice 2.0 on a bigger scale, Ineos out. Joe Fleming says, Idios are an absolute ducking disgrace. Just leave. Shane's been a member for a month. Says, in the space of the Cunha and Mbeumo deal, Arsenal have signed Kepa, Zubi, Noni Gyökeres, Mosquera, Norgard, and possibly Eze. Let that sink in. Yep. I've seen Arsenal fans going, Eddie was actually holding us back. You know, look at what Berta's doing. Nick says, still think it accelerates now that he's in training. And look, there's going to be a lot of opinion this morning. Got a lot of opinion this morning. Get your thoughts in, get your super chats in, get your members chats in. The leaderboard thing is now over here on United View. I had this over on my channel over the weekend. And what I think I'll do is at the end of the stream, whoever's top of the leaderboard will get like a shout out or something like that. Probably in the future, we might have prizes for who finishes top of the leaderboard for the stream. Maybe on match days and match views. But at the moment, you've got Super Arch first, Nick in second, Joe in third. And it's probably the only table Manchester United fans can actually, you know, possibly finish at the top of this season. So go for it. Go for it. You get to the top of the leaderboard by interacting in the chat and all that fun stuff. Oh, yes. Right. Let's get into this news this morning. Because you know what, actually, this is just typical. I had prepped to do a show this morning that was very much positive. That was going to be like, right, you know, we've got our first game of preseason at the weekend against Leeds. You know, he's back in training now, Bryan Mbeumo, and things are going to happen. This deal has to get done by the end of the week. It has to. We spoke about it on the red carpet last night. It has to get done this week, because even to James's point, and James is a positive guy, a rational guy, and he was like, well, if it's not done by the end of the week, you start having to question what have you been spending your time doing effectively. And then we get the news this morning from David Ornstein, from Laurie Whitwell, about how this deal, it's not that close and it's not that imminent. This is what was being reported, folks. So it came from David Ornstein as part of the Athletics transfer deal sheet, saying the gap between Manchester United and Brentford on their valuation of Bryan Mbeumo remains considerable. The two sides are several £1 million apart. There have been no significant developments over the past few weeks. Makes you wonder what the hell's been happening. And the deal is still not imminent. But talks continue as United work to complete a move for the Cameroon forward. So the news there is no news. We're just assuming, I think, as fans that, well, just because we're not hearing anything, something must be happening, right? Something must be happening. No, nothing's happened over the last few weeks. The valuation is still what it is. The gap is still what it is. It is not imminent. We are not at, well, it's going to be here we go very, very soon, or it's accelerating. Nothing. It continues. This part comes from Laurie Whitwell, saying Manchester United and Brentford are in a standoff over the price of Bryan Mbeumo. More than a fortnight has passed since United's second bid of £55 million plus £7.5 million in add-ons was rejected by Brentford, who originally wanted more than the £62.5 million Wolves received from Matheus Cunha. While there is some debate over the exact fee Brentford want, the reported £70 million offer by Tottenham, later denied by the club, is seen by some as a yardstick. This is kind of what James was alluding to on the red carpet last night, saying that there is frustration from Manchester United because they feel like the goalposts continue to be moved regarding this valuation. Initially, it was 60 million. Then it was, well, we want a similar amount to what you pay for Matheus Cunha, 62.5. Now it's actually, we'd probably want 70 million. And Manchester United are growing frustrated by this. Although there are some that are saying, well, actually, Tottenham never put a bid of £70 million in for Bryan Mbeumo. So someone's making something up there. What is going on? It's a saga. And finally, once again from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, says Manchester United are being patient in the hopes that Brentford ease on their valuation, given Bryan Mbeumo has said he wants to move to Old Trafford. Mbeumo's mood at Brentford training has now become a potential factor in the negotiations. He reported to Brentford's training ground on Monday, and the club are relaxed about their position. So it's all of the words that you want to hear when you're growing frustrated and nervous. And we spoke about how we were getting twitchy and how there were nerves a couple of weeks ago, let alone 2 weeks later. And when you're beginning to panic, or when you're beginning to get nervous, or when you're beginning to worry, the last thing, and maybe this is just me, you need to be told from people is, don't panic. Don't panic. Be patient. Be patient. Because on the other side of things, you look at when someone, if you're panicking and you're worried and someone does that whole, just be patient, don't panic. You go, don't panic. You don't understand the situation. And that's what it kind of feels like, doesn't it? You go, don't panic. We finished 15th last season. Our manager is on the record by saying he can't get more out of this group of players that he's got. He's on the record saying maybe some other coaches can get more out of them. I can't. We came to the conclusion at the end of the season that unless Ruben Amorim gets players, he is going to fail because he has admitted he is going to fail. He is on the record by saying, I can't really give you any evidence or examples of why it's going to succeed, why I'm going to succeed. You just got to hope. And you know what? There actually was a bit of hope at the end of the season, wasn't there? There was optimism. You felt it in the Manchester United fan base, didn't you? Going, you know what? Thank God the season's over. Thank God the season's over. We don't have to look back on it again. We can go into this transfer window. Look, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be an easy window. It's going to be tough. We finished 15th and we don't have Champions League football, but we can still do business. You were probably aware of this scenario. Remember, Omar Barada said we planned for all scenarios. He even said it in those postseason friendlies. We planned for all scenarios. It's not an ideal scenario, but we planned for all scenarios. We've had targets we've been looking at for a long time, and we're hoping to have a very positive window. And yes, there is still time. There's still a lot of time. The window shuts at the beginning of September. Was it September 2nd at 7 p.m.? A lot can still happen. But just because a lot can still happen doesn't mean that a lot shouldn't have already happened. Because you look at every other club. Granted, they're in different situations than us. I know. They're in different, every club's got their own context. Some are in Europe. Some have more money. Some have better PSR. Some are just more of an attractive club. Some are just better run clubs than Manchester United. But that is not an excuse for not getting stuff done. And I'm not saying as well the whole just pay the money, because James was right about this yesterday, the red carpet too. We are stuck in this perpetual cycle, aren't we? We are so badly run that we get stuck in this perpetual cycle where we go, we're calm, we don't do anything, panic, just pay the money. And then we find ourselves in a situation in 12 months, 18 months, 2 years' time, where we can't sell players on because we panicked previously when we bought them, and now we're stuck. We're just stuck. And it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And I think there would be an element of, look, it's not ideal. We're moving slow, but at least we've got a good squad, or we've got a good team, or we finished 4th last season, etc., etc., etc. But none of that's true. None of it. We finished 15th. We're shit. We're rubbish. And we were joking about it yesterday on the red carpet at a time where clubs' social media platforms were announcing new signings and showing off new players. We've got our social media admin showing videos of people cutting the grass at Carrington. Cutting the grass. And even that's like so tone deaf, isn't it? I'd rather them just, if you've got no news, then don't say anything. Just don't say anything. It's not like with them, cutting grass. Why bother? And they're showing players, I think it was Onana and Rasmus yesterday in one post, arriving at training. And it's like, guys, read the room. There's anger off last season mixed in now with frustration of a perceived lack of activity in the transfer market. So people don't want to see that outside when they're coming to work. No, they don't. And I don't know. I hope Static says, why is it tone deaf? They just said preparing for week 2, just because it doesn't excite transfer throbbers. It's not that. It's not because every post needs to be a transfer. This is the other thing. It's not because every post, if it's not a transfer, don't post it. It's the same of like when they did the whole, the winning team. When they used to do winning team, sometimes they still do, at a time where we're not winning. And you go, well, that seems a bit... It's just like this. I don't know if it's intentional. I hope not. But it's like... It's almost so on the nose that it's got to be sarcastic, Winning team, well, you don't win any fucking games. So you win in training. I don't care if you win in training. Win a football match. Or at a time which there is this sort of apathy towards the players we've signed in the past, and then 2 of the players that people have got particular issues with their transfers to the club, they're back at training. You go, you've got, surely, like Steffi Jenks says, like player of the month when you've had a bad month, or goal of the month when you haven't scored a goal, or the goal of the month's an own goal, or something. You know what I mean? It's like, surely that's not the right time. There's a timing for everything, So it's not like, so you say every transfer has to be every post has to be a transfer. No, it's just saying it's got to be more than cutting grass. if your best news in life, I think, is what's gone well for you today, cut the grass. You go, that's not great. I could have thought of more than that. It's just, I don't know. And look, when it comes to these deals, this is the other frustrating part of it too, isn't it? I think we all know we're going to get to the end of the transfer window and we're going to have signed players. I don't think it's a situation where the window shuts and we've only signed Matheus Cunha. I hope not. But it's just this feeling of, again, being left behind, isn't it? The gap between us and I don't even know if we should even talk about people like Liverpool and City and Chelsea and whoever, because they were just miles off that. But we got to even be talking about the gaps between us and the people that are finishing in like 10th, because that's like where that's where we're kind of at. We're not even thinking about qualifying for the top 4, top 5, top 6. So we're trying to close the gap realistically on Brentford, who finished 10th, Bournemouth, who finished 9th, Fulham finished 11th, Crystal Palace finished 12th. And even them, you look at them going, are we closing the gap? And it's just incredibly concerning, incredibly demoralizing, particularly when games start happening. There is this sort of thing when there are games, when you're in that part of preseason or the off season, when games still feel quite far away, you go, well, there's still a lot of time. Once your team starts playing again in the new kit and you realize, right, we're in a new season now, the new cycle of the next season has begun. And right there, Saturday, kickoffs at 2. I'll be live at 1 p.m. for the first game of preseason against Leeds. Matheus Cunha will be involved. Diego Leon will be involved. I mean, and the Diego Leon one is kind of like, wow, that one was arranged a while ago, wasn't it? And in terms of key positions, what we need now to improve this team, it's not ideal because I'm with people that will say those like academy signings or those signings that in 18 months time, 2 years time, they're going to contribute to the team, or you sell them on for profit. I don't have a problem with those signings. I think that's actually very encouraging, but we are not in the position where that can just be our sole focus, because we need to improve what we've already got, because what we've already got is nothing. And I mean, if you ask me today, will the Bryan Mbeumo one still happen? The answer I would give you is yes. I still do think we'll sign him. But was it last week when the report was, but the hope is to get it done before the USA tour? And I mentioned then that worried me, because that goalposts had moved about 2 or 3 times in the last couple of months, where it was they want to be in for the first. By the time everyone reports back for preseason, they want to have Bryan Mbeumo and Mateus Cunha through the door. Okay, that quickly became maybe by the Sweden game, the hope is to get him in then. Then it became, the hope is to get him in for the preseason tour of the USA. And that deadline then has shifted like 3 weeks, 4 weeks in the space of about a week, which already showed you that this thing is not anywhere near close to completion. If by your initial deadline, you say, actually, we're going to have to push that back about 4 or 5 weeks, that's something's going wrong. Something's going wrong with that deal. So this one's not close yet. I suppose the only potential in this is that it would appear that this is the conflicting messages, because some would say, and that's not an Oasis reference, some might say that it's only a couple of million difference, which is a small gap that United can bridge. But then, according to the Laurie Whitwell report, if Brentford wants 70 million and United were willing to sort of pay 62.5, that is quite a big gap. That is quite a big gap. And will United even be able to bridge that gap financially with the budget that they've got? And if Brentford want more up front in terms of cash, which United don't have cash, then maybe we don't get him. And then if we don't get him, have we done any due diligence on getting anyone else other than Bryan Mbeumo for that position or the striker? Can we even afford, like, in terms of just how it will look? You've been working on this deal for 6-7 weeks, and then you walk away because you've got disagreements over the fee. What have you been doing? This is what I mentioned yesterday on the red carpet of, are we just in too deep? Oh, God, folks. Where are we at in terms of super chats here? Mazza says, could it be a blessing if we don't get Mbeumo? We could go for a goalkeeper and a number 8, Rios and Martinez example. But I thought we all thought that we were going to go for those, not that maybe those specific players, but those positions based off. We're going to sell Rashford and Garnacho and Anthony and Malacia and Sancho. And even now we're like, are we? I think we will, but I don't know. Tabra says, Idios are nasty. I just checked. The cheapest ticket for the Burnley game is £73. Sat in the gods. Absolute joke. Football's no longer for the working class. That is unbelievable. This was the problem when he made that comment about how can Fulham have more expensive ticket prices than us. Well, it's about geographical location, isn't it? It doesn't mean anything, Oh, well, and if it was a case of they're paying more to watch extra quality, then we would have the 15th lowest ticket prices in the league because we're shit. I'd get it. I'd kind of get it if you go, well, look, we win every single week. We win all of the trophies. It's a price to pay to watch quality, unfortunately. Actually, you're paying a lot of money to go to a stadium that is universally accepted as sort of decrepit and falling apart. We're actively trying to build a new stadium if we can find the money. We don't win ever, particularly at home last season, So, yeah, throw your money at that one. Oh, and with your hard-earned money that you're paying a lot of money for tickets for, we won't buy players. So that's the other part of it too. No. Super Arch says, to be honest, did we even put in a third bid yet? I don't think we did. And that should have been a
red flag.
Because after that second bid went in for a total of 62.5, was it the 55 plus the 7 point whatever? And they didn't, and that was rejected. I think United maybe were taking a step back by that one and went, but I thought you wanted 62.5. And now I think there is this discussion of, well, how much did they actually want? Is it structure of add-ons? Is it the amount that's up front? Do they actually want 70? But are they just fully taking the piss out of Man United at this point? Brentford going, we've already got rid of our, manager's gone to Spurs. We've sold our captain. We might sign sell Wisser as well. So we don't really need to sell Brian and Mbeumo. So you're going to have to pay 70 million. I don't know. Done and Dusted said, we finished 15th. Had to get deals done early, so squad and Gaffer had more time to prepare for new system and new season. Well, this was the thing that Flex was saying at the weekend with his Flex's view, wasn't it? With, Ineos failing Ruben Amorim at the moment. Because I think there is a general consensus here that if we don't buck up our ideas, if we don't sign players, bring players through the door and move players on, then Ruben Amorim, and this isn't even being defeatist, Ruben Amorim will fail because he's admitted he can't work with these players and he can't get more out of these players. Ruben Amorim will fail, and then he'll pay the price for failure because ultimately, as a manager, if your team's not winning, you end up losing your job. And other people should pay for that failure too, not the fans. Not the fan. The fans shouldn't pay for that failure in terms of, well, we'll put up the ticket prices again, or we'll have to keep watching shitty football and watching terrible players or players that can't be bothered or players that don't want to try. But he'll pay the price, Ruben Amorim. If there's a lack of signings, that means the performances largely won't change. Results probably won't change, and he'll probably be gone by November, honestly. And then it'll be, actually, we need to get someone, because you'll have to get someone in who can get more out of what you've got, and what you've got is crap. And so in that regard, Ineos would be failing Ruben Amorim, but more from a more general point of view, not just necessarily him, they'd be failing Manchester United, because if the manager's getting sacked, then Manchester United are failing. If we're not signing players to improve the team, we're arguably either staying as we are or getting worse. We are failing. So it's about failing Ruben Amorim to an extent, but it's also failing everyone. Everyone is is failing. Super Arch says, this is the year we should have stacked on players like Rios, price range, one big purchase, Cunha. We keep doing the same mistake, looking for big buys. Bahir says, I don't think this is us being left behind. We were left behind years ago. We were just papering over the cracks. The pain we are facing is us staring at the truth. The way back might be more painful. James Clough says, I've never been so underwhelmed for the start of a new season, not even back in managers year one. Do you know what is funny, James, as well, is that I think I saw someone say this on Twitter yesterday, and it's really true. I can't actually recall a time, and the only fortunate thing is that the season still doesn't start for, it's about a month, isn't it? August 17th, our first game against Arsenal at Old Trafford. But I can't recall a time where Man United fans have been going into a new Premier League season this sort of defeated already, where they're sort of quite universally, everyone's like, I'm not looking forward to this season, or I don't expect anything out of this season. Not even in not like sometimes when we've been not looking forward to going into a season because we're like, we're probably going to finish 6th or 7th. It's not going to be a good one. We'd kill for that at the moment. I can't remember a time where as many people are like, this is going to be bad. And last year was bad. So who knows what this could be like. And Terence says, United want Mbeumo. According to reports, he wants to join. Brentford want to play penny pinchers for a couple of millions. Just get over with it. Just get over with already. Well, hopefully that is the case. We've got close to 1,600 people watching. We're currently at 321 likes. Let's see if we can get to 500 likes, folks. Not a good show in terms of news, but a show with lots of it and lots of opinions. So continue to get your opinions, continue to get your likes in, and be sure to subscribe as well. We are on the road to 200K, nearly there. It is going to be a massive couple of weeks regardless. We've obviously got preseason beginning on Saturday. We'll have full match coverage of that. Flex will be in Sweden. And then, of course, we've got the preseason tour of the United States. Flex, KG, Josh Media Graphics, Guru Visual Ninja will be across all of the games, across all of the states that Manchester United visit. Of course, we'll have stadium tours, player interviews, match reactions, you name it, collaborations, etc., etc., etc. All of the games, all covered, so you don't have to go anywhere. So be sure to subscribe. Usually is a fun time, pre-season tour, but I don't know. I don't know about this time round. Let's move on. Let's talk about some more news. It doesn't get much better. I'm going to be honest. It doesn't get much more positive, unfortunately, guys. Start with Alejandro Garnacho, the Athletics deal sheet reporting, with Noni Madueke leaving for Arsenal. Chelsea are open to the idea of getting another wide player / attacker to the ranks. They have held an interest in Alejandro Garnacho since January, and Manchester United are looking to sell the 21-year-old this summer. There's not really any concrete links. You know, this is largely based off the fact that Chelsea were interested in Garnacho in January, but would they be interested now? Difficult to tell with Chelsea. One thing's for certain, I suppose if they are interested, they could do a deal very quickly because they can actually move very fast in the transfer market, unlike Manchester United. But just before I went live, keeping in with talking about Chelsea, just before I went live, this is why I was a little bit late because I was making sure I got this graphic ready. Just before I went live, the great journalist known as Darmashev, but as KG would call him, Darmashev, reported this. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, folks. Yes. He said, a number of clubs are keeping an eye on Nicholas Jackson situation at Chelsea. Darmashev has been told Manchester United is among them. The focus, though, is currently on Brian Mbeumo and sales. We see how well that focus is going. And we see how well the sales are going. Imagine that's our focus at the moment and nothing's happening. That's our primary focus. Is that wall? How's that wall getting on with your painting? Oh, it's my full focus at the moment. It's got no fucking paint on it. So what are you doing? If that's your full focus, I mean, what kind of, like we said last night, what kind of ADHD focus is going on here? I mean,
Red flag.
It might not be just us though. Aston Villa boss Unai Emery is a long-term admirer. Gave him his debut at Villarreal. AC Milan are keen, but there's a gap in valuation. Reportedly, that valuation was said to be like 100 million. So, I mean, if we ended up doing that, good grief. Good grief. But just when you thought, well, I mean, imagine that was our pivot. You know what? The Brian Mbeumo one, yeah, it didn't work out. And we had to pivot to something else. We were already talking to Chelsea about Garnacho. So we signed Nicholas Jackson. We'll just hold that for a moment. We get frustrated with Alejandro Garnacho, Rasmus Hojlund, you know, Marcus Rashford when he was here. And we say, you know, the problem is with them is they can't finish. And they're not very good when they get chances. And we find that out when they don't get chances as well, because we don't really create that many chances for them. Remember, that's the thing about Rasmus. Well, you know, he just doesn't get many chances created for him. But when he does, he still doesn't score. Alejandro Garnacho, I've got to the point where he's 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. I'm surprised if the ball hits the back of the net. I think there's been a mistake. Nicholas Jackson at Manchester United, who, look, he scored goals at Chelsea. Sometimes needs sort of 5, maybe to 10 chances to put the ball in the back of the net. Lives offside. Basically, in the last few months, really what he's done for Chelsea is just mainly get sent off as well. And we know what happens if you're a Man United player and you get sent off. You will just end up getting sent off for like the rest of the season. Remember with like Casemiro? At one point, it was just, well, Casemiro gets red cards now. Why? Refs have decided. Bruno, earlier on this season, got a couple of red cards now. And when Bruno got a couple of red cards, it was like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for some way we needed to sell him. Of like, you know, it was, wow, he's getting sent off too much. We want to bring in Nicholas Jackson to this Manchester United side to score goals, a side that doesn't create that many chances, to stay on the pitch. Whereas if we can get someone sent off, we will. Surely not. And this goes back to like my the stuff with the social media posts earlier on. When it is so on the nose bad, when it is so on the nose tone deaf, that's when you start having to do the conversation of this has to be intentional. This has to be. This cannot be incompetence at this level. When it's that frequent and that specific, I cannot. The odds of this just being, well, just chalk it up to incompetence. It's just this has to be sabotage. It has to be. The social media post, you have to be taking the piss. Because at least if you're taking the piss, that's calculated. That's calculated. Grandpa says, so keep Hojlund over Jackson. If that's what you've got from it, Grandpa, I'm not going to be mean to my elders if you are a grandpa. So I will say nothing. It would just be, why does it have to be that choice? Surely it can be. Surely there could be another choice. Surely there could be another option. Why? Would you rather dive into a lake full of piranhas, or would you rather dive into a lake, full of acid? Either way, eaten alive or sort of disintegrated alive. Which one do you want? Well, can there be another option? Can we discuss this? Can we find? No, it's only those two. And out of curiosity, which one would you dive into? It's difficult, that. People saying piranhas, but that would take longer, wouldn't it? If you went into the acid, done, finished. Piranha, you'd have to live with that for a bit. I don't know. Not sure. Let's get it over. Get it over. Done with. Brian says, okay, Owen, let's go for Isak. But why does it go to extremes? Why does it go to extremes? Obviously, we can't get Alexander Isak, but can we not get any striker that's out there? Does it have to be, it's got to be shit or the best? I don't know. Ollie Watkins, not looking too bad now, is he? Not looking too bad. Maybe that's part of the game plan. Maybe that's part of it. I'm not sure. Zeus says a swarm will strip you to the bone in 30 seconds. I was thinking that too. They're quite quick, aren't they? All right. Either way, it's not going well, is it? Oof. I don't know. And then shows right there in the chat too. Like, we can't complain really, can we? If we sign Nicholas Jackson and then we're still not scoring goals or missing chances, can we be shocked going, but I thought that was going to work out. It's not going to work out. This is Manchester United we're talking about. It's not going to work out. Super Arch says, doubt we sell anyone. All the players will be on loan. A couple certainly will. Rashford, I think, will. You would think Garnacho might be permanent, but still very quiet, isn't it? Sancho, I do think that one will end up being permanent. Anthony might be another loan. It might be. I'm not sure. We are less than 100 likes away from 500 likes, folks. If you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get to 500, which would be great for a solo and show. A bit of an update on the leaderboard, who's currently at the top. Super Arch, still number one. Still in the top spot with 825 XP. You've got, I can't see. Do you know what YouTube did recently? They changed everyone. You can't see their names. It's just like handles. It's very annoying. Very annoying. Tabs is in third, and is it Salamb? Something on in second. I can't see the full name on 600. So there's only 15 minutes left. Who's gonna top the leaderboard in this stream? Whatever that means. One day there'll be prizes. Maybe we'll do that during the match view in pre-season. There'll be prizes. Right, more news. Let's move on. Let's talk about a subject close to my heart: goalkeepers. The Athletic is also saying, in terms of goalkeepers, Botafogo's John Victor has been scouted in case Altay Bayindir leaves, while there were talks on Emiliano Martinez at Aston Villa, but only if Manchester United could only afford his fee if Andre Onana is sold. So that one is just a non-starter anyway, because Andre Onana is not going to be sold, because Andre Onana is going to miss all of pre-season. Andre Onana is injured. He's got a hamstring injury. And now the discussion is actually about getting a goalkeeper just because we're going to need one. We needed one anyway. You know, I push back and I refuse. I refuse to have the sort of narrative of, well, we need a goalkeeper now because the goalkeeper we've got is injured. No. We've needed a goalkeeper anyway, regardless of if Onana was healthy, injured, or somewhere in between. We've always needed a new goalkeeper. It should have always been a priority. Absolutely. Whether it was getting in someone that's just, they're the number one now, someone just to compete with Onana, even a new backup that's just half decent, because eventually he will play and he'll be better than Andre Onana. Now, I mean, I thought, as Super Arch says there in the chat, I thought it was a situation where it was, Bayindir's definitely going to go. Bayindir's going to go, and then we're going to bring someone else in. But we have to. We have to. We've got the preseason game on Saturday. Obviously, Onana's not going to be playing in that. But really, it's what Bayindir, Heaton, and is it Vitek? Are the three that could probably play? We needed a new goalkeeper regardless, and just they're not that expensive. Man United, go find one, do it. Go find one. Whether it's, I don't know if it's going to be John Victor from Botafogo, but we've needed a goalkeeper for ages, because this is the situation too. Court Star says we might have to re-sign Kovar. Well, that's not going to happen. They just announced this morning he's moved to PSV. He got sold again by Ten Hag. Ten Hag really don't like him. Really doesn't like him. But yeah, for all of the chatter about Kovar, we're going to get him back. No, he's gone to PSV this morning. So that one's off the table. That one, that's gone as well. So yeah, I mean, because the thing is as well with Onana, I'm at this stage with him now that if he stays, and it's not an if, it's when he makes his typical, what should we say is how many he makes a season? Five plus errors, and sometimes they don't even count as errors. You know, I'm not even talking about the ones where he makes a save, pushes it to the side, and it's a tap-in, because they sometimes don't even go down as an error. I'm talking about the blunders, the Andre Onana blunders. He's good for about five or six of those a season. Then you're factoring in the other ones, like I said, that are like, is that an error? Could he do better? Should he save it? Blah, blah, blah. When that happens this season, because it will, we've seen it. I don't even think we can be angry at him. I don't even think we can be angry at Andre Onana anymore. He's trying his best. He's just not very good. He shouldn't be playing in goal. At this stage, when he is in his third season with Manchester United, he's kind of absolved from a bit of the blame now. It's that the blame's shifted onto Manchester United of, well, you've had 2 years to fix this. You've had 2 years to engineer moves or try and get him away. He's going into his third season at the club. That is more than enough time to go and get another goalkeeper, get competition, move him on, what have you. You've had ample time to do that. He's going to make the mistakes. He's not going to get better. He's, 28, 29? He's at his peak. We got catfished. It happens. Okay? We thought we were going to get that Onana that was in the Champions League final. Pep Guardiola praising someone that is then linked to Manchester United.
Red flag.
That is a red flag. We've learned it at this stage, okay? Don't listen to a word that Pep Guardiola says when it comes to anyone that is linked to Manchester United at all. Whether it's Onana, Maguire, like Sanchez, anyone. Just don't listen to him. The guy plays 4D chess like we don't know. Remember, he said with Aguero, we cannot replace him. He signed Erling Haaland. They won the Champions League. Fred, another one. I don't know. But yes, goalkeeper search is on. I don't know. The problem is with these stories, yeah, and this is because every story about us looking for, other players, it always ends with, but Manchester United are totally focused on Brian and Mbeumo. Man United are fully focused on Mbeumo. That's the deal they're focused on right now. So even these ones of like, goalkeepers, strikers, it all feels like just so far off, doesn't it? It just feels like, well, if that might be a thing, that one day in a couple of months, but at the moment, it's just not that. Even Brentford are announcing signings this morning. Jordan Henderson. Not that I wanted him, but yeah. It's just, I find myself at a loss for words, folks. I really do. I despair. Nick says, we don't know what Brentford's demands are, to be honest. Well, and again, that maybe that's part of the point with United at the moment. They thought it was 62.5, now it's 70. But even again, that doesn't absolve United from criticism, because if you feel like you're being messed around, then walk away. Walk away weeks ago. If you feel like, right, they're taking the piss. They're taking the piss. We can't negotiate with them in good faith. No, say to Brian and Mbeumo, mate, you're going to have to force this move through, or we're not interested, because we've got work to do. We've got to bring players in. Otherwise, this new coach that we've backed won't have a job come November, because we'd have lost all the games again. And start working on alternatives. Don't put all the eggs in one basket and then realize basket's a bit expensive. Oh, I don't know. Let's just leave it. Well, what are you going to put your eggs in? I haven't really thought about it, really. Aya says, how is the United fan base this calm when my fellow Arsenal fans have been raging over a done deal and even created a petition? You guys have had nothing. Well, look, Man United fan base is far from calm. I would not describe this fan base as calm. Definitely not. We are many things, the Manchester United fan base. Calm is not one of them, ever. And it's just really the question is, are we justified in not being calm or not? A lot of the time, it's no. Where we panic over very silly things, but we're justified to not be calm at the moment. And I think maybe you're mistaking just sheer being, someone said it in the chat, defeated. Lyle said that they're defeated. The time for like pushing back or like fighting or being outraged, I think was a long time ago, wasn't it? Where now it's more of just a apathetic shrug of like, let's be totally honest, folks. The United fans in the chat, 'cause sometimes there's the ops, but United fans in the chat, when you see this morning the story saying Brian and Mbeumo to Manchester United, it's not imminent, it's not close, there's a big gap in valuation. Are any of you actually like shocked? Did any of you go, I can't believe this? I didn't see that coming. Because I think if that was you, rightfully so, I think a lot of people would turn to you and say, really? You didn't see that coming? So maybe it's mistaken calmness for just, as people say, an acceptance. the norm. The reason people, I think, are so twitchy the reason why people were twitchy 3 or 4 weeks ago is because of how we've behaved in the past. And we know our club. We know our club inside and out. We follow them every single game, every single season, every single day in the news cycle. We know our club. We can spot the stories 2 or 3 weeks before they even happen. The moment that Dominic Calvert-Lewin was announced that he's leaving Everton, everyone went, don't you fucking dare, Man United. We still might. Man United's like that dog that you own, and they start walking in circles around the carpet, and you go, if you take a shit on that rug, I'm going to be livid. I'm going to be livid. And then Man United is the dog that keeps walking in circles, and you go, don't. And then it stops, it turns around, and it takes a dump on the floor while maintaining eye contact in silence. And you go, this room stinks. this room stinks. And there's shit on the floor. And then eventually someone else walks in, and goes, hey, the dog's always shitting on the floor. So, I don't know, fix that. Because it's not on the dog anymore, it's on you. Protect yourself. Then what are you doing? You're arguing over feces on the floor. And then you go, how have we got here? How have we got here? This rug used to be nice. It's one of the best rugs in the league. One of the best rugs in the world. Do you know how much we paid for this rug? And now look at it. Soiled. Decrepit. I know. Look at next door over the road. Their dogs don't poo on the floor all the time. Whereas we do. Can't remember what I was talking about. Man United. Somebody's in Man United. It's early. It's been a long weekend. Nick says, Sky Plus, other reliables were saying valuation was close. Maybe that's still the case. Maybe it's installments. Various millions seem like structure. D says, selling Bruno was our lifeline. It's really dark. Yeah. Wolsey said, naughty United. Yeah. Stop it. And we've run out of poo bags as well. It's bullshit. What else have I got to talk about? Oh, yes. Well, by the way, we're 2 likes away from 500 likes. Man United's broke on me. We're 2 likes away from 500 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Rasmus Hojlund, he's not leaving either. So that's just a little bit on that. The Athletic also says there's been speculation around Manchester United striker Rasmus Hojlund, but Inter no longer hold an active interest in buying him after they signed 21-year-old and Johan Bonny. So Inter were interested, but that just didn't happen. They've already signed someone. We could have maybe, but no, that didn't happen. I mean, Hojlund, it probably didn't want to leave, so we got him walking into Carrington. So it's good. Folks, I just oh God. What are we gonna do, guys? What are we gonna do? We're gonna do what we always do. We're trying to try and get through it together. We're gonna, as long as we're there for each other, that's a start. I don't know, guys. Super chat from Lost Boy says, realistically, how can Man United turn this around? Well, takeover, relegation, sell the club, delete the channel. I'm not sure. I don't know. But buy for the future, and in 3 or 4 years' time, we've got loads of good young players that either we sell for a lot of profit or they bail us out the shit. Oh no. Boom, boom, boom. Where's Brian and Mbeumo? Mbeumo. This is why I get nervous with KG making songs. Because if the player ends up being crap, they come back. It comes back to bite us. I don't think anyone expected that, but what if he doesn't sign? Boom, boom, boom. Where's Brian and Mbeumo? And because it's so catchy, you have to say Mbeumo afterwards again, don't you? Boom, boom, boom. Where's Brian and Mbeumo? Mbeumo. You have to do the second part. You can't not. Boom, boom, boom. Where's Brian and Mbeumo? Mbeumo. Oh, God. Super Arch says, off topic, did you see threats made to Napoli owner and his son over the Oshman saga? I didn't see that. I did see that I think a bid had been rejected. I did see that a bid had been rejected. And I mean, that is a saga, isn't it? Really is a saga. Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. We just got to stick together. We just got to stick together. Keep fighting. I'll tell my dad not to get a Cunha shirt. I won't. Dad, if you're watching, sometimes you watch these shows when he's on his bike in the morning. Dad, don't. Just don't. Please don't. And I'll make sure that happens, because we can't have that. we can't have that. Not at all. Anyway, guys, there is going to be a show this evening at 7 p.m. It might be a KO show, or it might be a Flex and KG show. I'm not sure what time Flex is back today, because I think he's back, but then he said he was like really early back, and then I think he's going to Talk Sport. So it might be Flex and KG, or it might be KO. But there will be a show at 7 p.m. Either way, there's going to be a live show at 7 p.m. and we'll have another group therapy session, because I think it's needed at this point. You know, it's got so bad. We're up to 2 a days, folks. You know, we're up to 2 a day sessions because you've got to. You really do. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. You'll be redirected to KG's Reckless Sports as well. I'm sure there'll be plenty being discussed on there. And like I said, we'll be back later on in the evening. Have a good one, guys. Appreciate everyone for hitting the super chat goal, by the way. We got 10 out of 10 on that, which is great. And actually, in terms of the leaderboard, Tabs, you fell out in the last few seconds. The winner was Super Arch, Nick in second, and Salam in third. So congratulations. You don't win anything at the moment, but one day you will. One thing, it's got to be, but you got to win something. So one day you'll probably get a prize. I don't know what that is, but eventually we'll get to that point. But yeah, Tabs dropped out. Well, it's still in Champions League settings. But still, so that's what that leaderboard thing is in the chat. That's why someone's got the little crown and number one, and others apparently. So yes. Anyway, guys, have a good one. We'll be back later on with more content. Peace.